What's up, everybody? It's your favorite winged-footed mutant's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Walgreens exclusive Agent Venom, which I know is a bit old, but I got them both at the same time and figured since we were doing one, might as well do two, and Namor. So without much further ado, let's get going. So up first is Agent Venom. I got some weird things going on with him. We'll talk about it, but before we do that, let's talk about the accessories. We'll talk about the ones he does not have featured, which is this unit, like an automatic. I'm not a big gun guy, but some sort of machine type gun. I'm sure somebody will inform me in the comments, but yeah, it's weak. It's gray plastic. It's soft plastic. Nice sculpt, but I would have preferred it in black. I'll tell you why here in a second. And then same with this pistol. This like Glock type handgun, and same type of thing. Here he has the other one that he comes with in his hand. The hand holds it very well, trigger inside the trigger guard, which is always nice. And same with this one, which is black, and it does look a lot more menacing. It does look more real. It looks more dangerous. It looks more threatening. I love the red paint on the the laser beam guide, whatever sight. So that's cool. Let's talk about this guy. So the head is it's a cool sculpt. I like the paint. The white gets a little out of control, but it's not hateful. So on the ball hinge, which we're used to, but the range of motion is blocked somewhat by this chest piece, but it is still, you get a fair bit up, not a whole lot down, but I think enough, and then the swivel. So I think that's all in all pretty well. So it uses like a regular Marvel Legends type of buck, so to speak, and then it uses this softer piece of plastic on top to kind of differentiate it, which I'm okay with. I am okay with it. Like it looks like armor. It looks appropriate. It looks like there should be another layer underneath there, and it makes the figure look more unique. It also comes with this piece here, which is a plug-in piece of like the symbiote. We'll take it off just for the time being, but it plugs in right here. And then you have the paint on the back, and it looks fair. It could be better. There's some fuzzy parts. It's not clean, especially where there's line detail in the armor. The paint doesn't always hit that clearly. This was purchased for me, and then it's a long story, but it was a buddy of mine picked this up for me, and we'll talk about it at the end of the video. But he offered to get another one, but I thought that was a little bit overkill. It was okay. So ab crunch is in there, but you can't really utilize it because of the armor. You can get like half a click down and maybe a click back. The shoulder pads, which are connected to the soft piece, which is not the best way to do business, but it isn't hateful. It's really not. If you told me that this would be how they did it, I would have expected it to be worse. It's a softer plastic, so it doesn't really impinge articulation at all. For the articulation, we have ball hinge shoulders that we're used to, and they got a pretty decent range. Feels like the shoulders, I think because of the shoulder pads, they look a little lower than they should be, but I think it's actually pretty good. Bicep swivel. We got white paint on this armor that's done fairly trashy. Same on the other side. No paint on the arms. We got paint on the hands, the classic Venom squares, which do look okay. Double jointed elbow that looks really good and works really well. And then a swivel at the forearm, which I'm not actually mad at because of the like it's like an extra piece. Like this whole hand is a different hand, is connected to this piece, which fits over the forearm. It's clean. It's fairly smart. Same on the other side. Waist swivel. It gets a little jammed up in there on something, and it's like a piece of plastic that's not shaved down, but that's an individual results will vary kind of thing. We got this soft plastic belt, tons of stuff that would have really benefited from some paint, but tons of stuff on there, pouches, and very 1990s of them. And then for the hip joints, this is what really kind of blew my mind. You got wide jointed ball hinges for hips, which is just like ugh. So if you manipulate the ball hinge, you can get the foot straight out, so that's no problem, and then you can get it straight out to the side as well, but you got to maneuver it in order to get it. And this one is actually sitting a little funny on there, and it's just kind of an antiquated way of doing business with Marvel Legends, and I don't like it, and I wish that they would stop using it altogether. And this one's actually stuck up in there, so not sure what I'm going to do there. We'll have to see how it plays out. Thigh swivel's built into it. That works fine. White paint around this leg actually looks really sharp, so that's fairly well done. Other side, not so much. Little touch and go right in there. And then we got the gun that's painted, and that is nice. Double jointed knee with the knee pad on there, looking great and works just fine. And then the boots are all sculpted. All the detailing in the boots is sculpted. Not sure if we've seen these boots before, but they look great. Would have benefited from some paint, obviously, but all in all, they look pretty good. For the feet, we got them on a hinge, so we have the tilt all the way down and even a little bit up. Not much, but a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say hardly anything at all. And then an ankle rocker. And that is this fella. And then we have Namor the Submariner, and this is pretty cool because I think a lot of people didn't think we would get an update of this guy because of the situation with Fox and Fantastic Four and stuff. So getting a Namor makes me feel a little bit better about possibly getting a Fantastic Four update in the future, which we desperately do need. He comes with a few accessories, mainly hands. We'll put him to the side for a second. So he comes with 2 of these, like slap happy hands, with which hinge in and out, and this hand, which is a holding hand, but he doesn't have 2 weapons, and the fingers are molded together, like the thumb and forefinger are molded together, and the weapon doesn't fit down in it, so the hand is pretty much an utter and complete wash. Otherwise, it's fine. And then he comes with this thing. It's like a trident. It's I don't know. I think it's a cool sculpt, but it does feel very cheap, and he doesn't really hold it all that well. But it'll kind of do. Okay, so sculpt wise, this head is I almost cursed there. It's really, really good. It's a really sharp head sculpt, like one of the best I may have seen. Eye paint looks good. The eyebrows are painted well. The hair is sculpted and painted very clean. It's one of the best I've seen. Don't know how else to say it. The head itself is on a ball hinge, as we've come to expect. Down to there destroys the sculpt. You can probably get to here without destroying it, and then up to there kind of works fine. For the torso, we have this extra piece that's sculpted or glued on in the collar, and then the actual suit is sculpted. Like there's a sculpt line here too, which I wouldn't have guessed. Paint gets a little dodgy around the edges, but overall it's well. The metallic, like bluish turquoise-ish, sheesh, is painted on, and then the scales are painted on top. We had the ab crunch, down 1 click, up 1 click, sculpt continues, paint continues. Bravo, well done. That's how you do it. Waist swivel, that works fine. It destroys the sculpt at a ridiculous angle, but I don't think you really, you shouldn't be using a waist swivel all that far anyway, honestly. And then we have these shoulders, which the shoulder joint does look a little ridiculous. Like they look a little big, I feel like, just for the sculpt and how it ends up looking. Like it looks a little too bulbous, but I think it's overall it's fine. They're a ball hinge. The range of motion is fairly limited. You get to about there, and then you can obviously swivel it around and adjust it. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, that works fine. Wrist swivel, hinge, in and out for the holding hand, and we've already seen it for this slap happy hand as well. The belt is painted on. The paint got a little outside the lines for me. Once again, that's an individual results will vary kind of thing, and then black paint on the little armor piece in there. The belt is sculpted, so that's cool. I wouldn't have necessarily thought. All the scales look really well done. Surprising. Had to be digital. Surprising. But they're clean. We got T-jointed ball joints for hips, fairly limited. They get you out to there, up to here, back to there, and then a thigh swivel, double jointed knee, getting you that range, and then a calf swivel, which is stupid, but I'll take it. And we can have a conversation about why I will take stuff like this and the forearm swivel on the other one, but I think that they can add a little bit more individuality by adding different types of leg pieces continuously through different characters to break up the sculpts a bit, so it's not all Bucky Cap, it's not all Hyperion, etc. And it could eventually pay off. We'll talk more about that later. And then we have this his winged ankle, because you can't take a threat seriously unless they have wings, little tiny baby wings on their ankles.
Anyway, guys, the +2 is a whip.
Is there a problem?
Oh shit! He's got little wings on his feet.
Off your eyes! Ah! But anyway, and then the feet We got a hinge getting you ankle tilt back to there, up to there, which is really good, and then the rockers built in, so that's all good. So overall, fairly well done. Final thoughts wise, the Agent Venom, I think you could probably pass on unless you have a huge connection to that character. I don't have a huge connection. I know his name is Eddie. I don't think it's the proper Eddie from Venom though. I'm sure someone will correct me, but I know a little bit about him, but I don't know much. I know he's relatively a good guy. He was linked up with Guardians of the Galaxy, so I know a little bit, but I'm not an expert. I don't have a huge connection to him. Stuff like the Y joints, and my Y joint here, I did eventually get it. I got it with a pair of pliers, but I feel like those Y joints with the ball hinge are really antiquated and probably should be put to bed. They don't really pay off that well. They don't offer much. It doesn't look good proportionately, and they should probably just retire that joint. The accessories are all fairly cool. The black gun with the red laser I really do like, and overall he's kind of efficient. I wasn't even going to get him, but I'll talk about that here in a second. And then Namor is pretty good all around. Like, definitely comes from this new school of Marvel Legends. So I got this from a guy who's become a friend of mine, this guy Josh, and he was interested in some merchandise from me, and he found these out on the road, and he hunted these down like, I don't even know, man. Like it was like Indiana Jones / Crocodile Dundee / Boba Fett, you know. And he went out and found these, and he was like, "Dude, got them." Sent them to me, and then I sent him some stuff, and it was really cool of him, and I definitely appreciate it. Because we don't have a Walgreens close to me, so it's really hard to get my hands on these guys. And I wasn't even going to get him, but he came across them, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Go ahead. I definitely feel like Marvel Legends are drastically improving. The last couple waves that I've seen some stuff that has really set my spidey sense off in a good way. So I think it's a line to watch. I think this X-Men wave is going to be stellar. The Spider-Man wave looks great. So I'm excited to see what they reveal for SDCC, and they're really building my confidence. So I'm watching this line very closely, and if you guys are Marvel fans, I think you should watch it too. In regards to these guys, I definitely do not recommend him. I do recommend Namor, especially if you are a Fantastic Four, Namor, or Avengers, or even Mutant or Illuminati fan. So there's that. Other than that, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.